Alright? You could stop posting your sappy, annoying Memorial Day Facebook poems and statuses. It gets old. It gets really old. And I'm not saying don't thank the vets. In fact, quite the opposite. Actually, thank a vet or go to a gravesite for someone who has passed, because and people say, oh, it's not about the vets. Well, it is still about the vets, because they are the ones who remember a lot of these people who have fallen. But just stop the self-righteous bullshit. No one cares. No one gives a damn about your Facebook poem, about your sappy picture. No one cares. No one. I don't. Tyler, do you care?
Not really, no.
No, Tyler doesn't care. If Tyler doesn't care, then no one else cares either. Tyler's an important person. He produces this show. If he doesn't care, then you should stop doing it. It's really annoying. It's so stupid. People just go on there and they like to pat themselves on the back. In fact, I feel like some of these people throw their shoulders out because they're patting themselves on the back so hard about how patriotic they are, about how great they are, about how special they are, about how they care so much, about how they're so deeply touched by Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Same difference. It's the same thing happens both holidays. And Memorial Day is a very important holiday, but it's a holiday that people often destroy in this culture of self-righteous Facebook, Twitter grandstanding. There's something I wrote. I was looking back at a note from a few years ago. Let me see if I can find it here. It's on Facebook. Let's see. Okay, here it is. It says, Happy Memorial Day. One thing to consider before you judge the masses picnicking from your high horses. The great men and women who didn't make it back would probably want you to go out on these cookouts. They would probably want you to enjoy this beautiful weather that we're having with friends and with families. They fought for a safe and free country. So maybe instead of pointing the finger and judging and saying, don't forget what Memorial Day is about. Don't forget. You shouldn't be picnicking. This is about bigger than that. Maybe instead of whining and bitching and moaning like a child, you should accept their gift and have a nice time. Have a nice time, enjoy your picnic. And maybe enjoying that picnic is a thank you in and of itself. Welcome to the River's Edge Radio Network. You're here with Brian Crawford behind the microphone in a very cool and comfortable Millville Studios.
I was going to say, it feels great in here today.
Last week I was literally dumping water on my head to try to cool off. What's that?
I almost passed out.
You almost passed out.
It was bad.
I almost passed out once in the old attic studio. But I just, Memorial Day it's a holiday that I want to love desperately. But you all make me sick. And it's all these people who really don't give a damn about Memorial Day. They like to preach from their keyboard, but to take the actual 10 minutes to walk to a grave site or actually maybe call up the widow of a veteran, that would take way too much time, way too much effort. It's so much easier to draw out long poems that you've found Googling Memorial Day poems on the internet. It's easier to try to garner Facebook likes and Facebook shares and attention
It's all about
to
the
your
attention.
page.
Yeah.
Yes, with your poorly written, incorrectly spelled.
I was going to say, there's always misspellings. Though.
Yes, Facebook poems and treats. It's just really obnoxious. I just get so sick of seeing it, and it just makes me sick because in this grand effort to set people right and put them in their place about what Memorial Day is really about, you end up completely missing the point about what Memorial Day really is about. It's not about you. It's not about your Facebook likes. It's not about your statuses or anything like that. No, not at all. Memorial Day is about thanking those who served and enjoying life because they gave it to us. They gave us this wonderful country. Just imagine, I was out at Kentucky Knob. We were recording an episode of The Culture Cruise. And so we went to Kentucky Knob, which is a beautiful house out near Uniontown that Frank Lloyd Wright designed. And it was kind of interesting. Apparently, he had only been there once before it was even finished, and he refused to go even when he was invited to the housewarming party because he said he already knew what it looked like. So it was already in his head. But there in the garden, there's like this weird meadow garden that stretches between Kentucky Knob and the visitors center, because they have a visitors center that they shuttle you up to the house in, and they do that so you can't just park right up at the house. It makes a better atmosphere, and you can either catch to the shuttle back or you can walk along this trail back to the visitor center, and they have all sorts of different sculptures there along the trail. And one of the sculptures they had was a full bottom to top piece of the Berlin Wall, and it was stunning to see the difference on one side of the wall versus the other. All of the spray paint and markings that are on the one side of the wall, obviously the side occupied by the West. And then you had the Soviet side, not a marking on there because they probably would have been shot if they had defaced the wall. And those people were kept down with an iron grip. And it's just interesting to think that we in this country could be living, possibly, who knows, in a situation similar to the people of Germany if it wasn't for our men and women. And it's just interesting that we live in a society where you can go on Facebook and bitch and moan, or go on Facebook and look down on everyone else in their parties and their picnics just because I don't have any friends who would invite me, so I'm going to look all superior on my Facebook keyboard. You wouldn't have those opportunities if it were not for the men and women of this country. So truly give them a thank you. One municipality that, maybe I'll save this story for a little bit later in the show. One municipality did something very special for a veteran who just passed away, an older veteran in their area who meant a lot to their town. It's a local municipality. We're going to get into that and give you some options on ways that you could truly honor people who have fallen for this country. Ways that are real, ways that are substantive, ways that do not involve keyboard preaching.
No more keyboard preaching.
The book. We've got sports next here on the River's Edge Radio Network.